Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of AdThoughts, where we dive into the world of ad tech by picking the brains of our expert team members. Today, we're taking a look at effective yield optimization for publishers. Before that, on to some introductions. I'm Naomi from Publift, an award winning ad tech company based right here in Sydney. We help global publishers monetize their content and improve their revenue. Today, I have Brock Munro with me, our head of product, who oversees our suite of innovative products. You may recognize him from some of our older videos. He's a true Publift OG with a wealth of knowledge about all things ad tech. Say hello, Brock.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Naomi, for having me on.
Thank you for taking the time to have a chat with us today. So, Brock, if I was a smaller publisher and I'm still pretty new to ad tech and just learning how to optimize my website, how would you explain what yield optimization is to me?
Yeah, yield optimization is the practice of using data analysis and ad operation strategy to increase the value of your inventory to grow your revenue. In short, it is a strategy used to maximize the value of digital advertising. Remember that advertisers are always trying to achieve the highest return on investment for all the ad impressions that they buy. While small ad publishers can test a variety of strategies prior to scaling as the brand grows, managing and optimizing advertising yield becomes increasingly complex. As publishers, we want to make sure advertisers pay the most for any piece of inventory that we make available to them. This in turn improves our return on investment as publishers.
Right, okay. So, what does this look like in practice? What would you say are some of the optimization techniques?
Yeah, to make this easy to understand, we have methods to impact supply and to impact demand on the inventory side. The demand side is more fundamental as it is centered around ensuring that what you as a publisher are offering to the market is valuable and pursued. To drive this up, we look to optimize the structure of an ad unit by altering the look, feel, and location of it on site. For supply, we want to make sure that potential advertisers or bidders are getting what they are looking for. For this use case, it's more about ensuring we provide a wide range of bidders with relevant user and contextual information through technologies like OpenRTB and Prebid. A combination of high quality inventory and high quality information about the user generally translates into improved yield and revenues.
Right, okay. So, I've heard the term yield management thrown around in the office here and there, but I take that this is actually different from yield optimization. Is that right?
Slightly, yeah, very close though, very much related. Yield
Mm-hmm.
management refers to the practice of implementing a variable pricing strategy over time so that the publisher can realize greater yield or eCPM as time progresses. These pricing strategies allow publishers to change prices based on user behavior or demand projections. Prices are also altered on the basis of demand seasonality, as well as depending on the sources of demand. Yield management results in creating an opportunity for the highest price or the highest CPM, along with the maximum fill rate.
Okay, so what does that all mean in English, essentially?
Yeah, of course. We want to make sure that for every impression that we serve as a publisher, we're getting the maximum price in the auction. More commonly, or the way we like to think about it, we're realizing the most revenue we possibly can from each auction.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's easier to absorb. Would you be able to explain to us some methods for yield management? I have read about things like real time bidding and programmatic direct, but I haven't made too much sense out of them, and I'm sure some of our viewers are on the same boat as well, and they could appreciate some of your insight on that.
Yeah, they're two really good examples, and we'll dive into them here. But to circle back to the point I made around supply and demand, we want to be doing is focusing on improving our supply and having a healthy breadth of demand to ensure that prices go up. So in practice, there's a few ways that we can target this kind of outcome. Number one is around managing a direct the PMP, the open auction arrangement for your inventory. So one of the more common methods for yield management is to diversify your inventory across multiple channels. So this includes direct advertising or direct sales, PMP or programmatic marketplace, or as you mentioned, programmatic direct, or open auction avenues, which is the very, very common channel for most of the publishers out there. So if you have the resources to do so, you should segment your inventory for various groups of buyers whilst incrementally adding scarcity and speciality to the highest priced items. This is a proven model for building a direct monetization business. A publisher that has a healthy mix of bespoke products for direct buyers, plus a healthy mix of programmatic auction and programmatic deal buyers, should expect an increase in yield for each bucket, respectively. Diving into the open auction channel specifically, we talk about the RTB solution. So RTB, real-time bidding, as the name suggests, allows you to sell and add inventory to buyers in real time. Using options like pre-bid, open bidding, AdX or AdX via dynamic allocation, Amazon TAM, in a unified auction brings together a breadth of advertisers prudent for driving up the price for inventory due to market competition in an auction. This is a good alternative to building a direct and PMP monetization business due to the availability of products in the market that take care of everything end to end, like what we do at Publift. Now, the third area to talk about today on the yield optimization side is floor price optimization. So specifically for your open auction channel, but definitely flows into direct business and PMP business. Publishers that are using an ad server should definitely consider the segmentation of inventory at each of those levels. For floor pricing, this is where we, ahead of any given auction, decide the minimum acceptable price to sell the inventory for. Where the rubber hits the road here is by mapping the valuable elements of your inventory against a range or price range that an advertiser could possibly pay for it. By doing this, you can price your inventory in a way to combat the advertiser return on investment practices at play, or commonly known as bid shading. So in summary, the combination of multi-channel demand and optimizing pricing for your inventory will always help a publisher increase their yield.
Right. So it seems there are definitely like a few key ways a publisher can choose to, basically execute yield management. And I take that with all of this, it's most probably a case of walking before you can run. Are there a series of best practices to consider before jumping into, the slightly more advanced stuff?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Naomi. We always recommend publishers first give themselves the best chance of success by investing in the right tools. This might mean implementing a new header bidding tech, migrating from AdSense to Google Ad Manager for the ad server capabilities, or picking a partner to help them realize all that we've spoken about so far. It's always important to adhere to the rules and regulations of the tools that you do use. So for example, policy violations, particularly on the Google stack, can lead you into a cleanup spiral that keeps you from making proactive improvements to your stack. Another big thing on our end is getting the placement basics right. So this is all about using the right ad sizes that have been proven over time to output the highest yields for different screen sizes, devices, and even users. On top of that, it's important to make sure you're increasing the results for key health metrics like viewability, CTR, CPM, page RPM, among others. And one of the more important things that we always suggest to publishers, and I continue to push onto my team, is around experimentation. So this is truly the secret sauce. Every publisher is different. Their users are different. Teams different. Their strategies are different. So accepting a one-size-fits-all approach generally ends in peril. By investing in the basics only, and then taking an experimental approach to yield to improve on those foundational layers, you can continuously improve yield through micro optimizations. This avoids getting bogged down in large integration work, working with tech teams to implement new products or various migration layers. Starting small is always encouraged, as small changes to ad unit composition, to demand partners can have a massive impact on yield.
Right. So considering all that we've ran through today, it'll definitely give a publisher a great start to their yield optimization journey. So what do you think we could probably share with our more experienced publishers? What are some of the more advanced yield optimizations or management techniques that are out there?
Yeah, good question. Assuming that the publisher has done the foundational steps, there are plenty of further wins that we can easily realize as an extension of the aforementioned work. So, number one is around taking advantage of your ad server. There are tons of little secrets in your ad server. For us, we use Google Ad Manager that can help you extract a high yield for very low effort. For example, it is worth considering using target CPMs for open auction floors and adding in first look pricing floors for building tiers of demand across your inventory. Open auction sometimes gets labeled as remnant or leftover, but by strategically placing healthy and aggressive floors for both open auction and for first look, can really diversify your stack and allow your Google bidders or open auction bidders to take impressions that they usually wouldn't at a much higher rate, improving your overall yield. Yeah, the second suggestion I'd make is around setting up geo-based rules for your global audiences. So many of our publisher customers have users from all over the globe. Needless to say, not every supply side platform or SSP or bidder has global reach, nor are your users in each region very similar to each other for measurements like bandwidth or device technology. By understanding your audience, you can put together geo-targeting ad stacks that enable you to cater your supply to the bidders in each region, whilst making your user experience sensible to users in each market. So for example, our users on a high-speed internet connection in an office in New York might have a very different experience to a farmland out here in Wagga Wagga. We want to make sure that we're catering our ad experience and general website experience to each of those users in a way that is A, good user experience, makes the user come back, but B, gives us the best chance of monetization. So the third suggestion is around diversifying your inventory with native and video. Getting started with display is low cost, it's efficient, and it's a great way to turn your content into a cash cow. To really accelerate the yield story, however, you should consider implementing native and video offerings into your stack. This recommendation sits in the improving the quality of your inventory bucket by giving advertisers the ability to execute more customizable, interactive formats that they would usually be able to on your site. Generally speaking, advertisers are willing to pay a much higher eCPM for an interactive video or native unit than they would for a regular display unit. This could be as simple as updating your ad server request to include native requests, or as involved as building out a video content strategy and monetizing it through direct or programmatic pipes. As an extension to the video and native piece, you should also look into rich media creatives. So rich media formats or creatives provide an upgrade to your display inventory by augmenting basic slots with interactive, sexy ad units. Some examples include interscrollers for in-content units and customer interactive adhesion units. These formats can also be included in your regular header bidding auction or directly through the ad server, so you can use them to improve your auction intensity without having to remove any of your regular partners.
Looks like the advanced publishers have some work cut out for them, but I'm sure if they really get a hand at implementing all these things, it sounds like it's going to be really valuable for them. So we clearly went through a whole bunch of things on yield management and yield optimization today, and they're extremely insightful. But if our viewers were to take away one key thing today, Brock, what would you want that to be?
Yeah, one key thing, it would have to be experiment continuously and often. This is a mantra that we push heavily at Publift, but we would suggest the same for any of the publishers listening today or any publisher that we speak to in the market. Looping back through what we said, the diversity of demand and improving the quality of your inventory is the bread and butter to ensure that you get the best yield result. And the best way to iterate on that through time is through experimentation.
Nice. Well said. Well, that's all the time we have for today, Brock. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. And to all you viewers out there, we hope you found this valuable. And if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us reach other publishers like you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon, Brock. Hopefully, in another Ad Teach video.
Thanks, Naomi.
And cut.